3739. We're going to talk about divisibility. Divisibility. There. Okay. If it's divided by 2, how do we know? I think Marcy answered this quite a few times. How do I know if a number is divisible by 2? How do you know, Marcy?
Then it'll be even.
Did I ask you?
No.
Oh, I didn't think your name was Marcy. Okay, how do you know?
If it's even.
If it's even, okay? So, it's even. We looked at 5 already. Okay, we looked at 5. How do I know if something is divisible by 5? Jonathan?
It ends in 5 or 0.
Yes, it ends in 5 or 0. Okay. 7 we're not going to know. We're going to go up to 9. We can tell 6, but we haven't talked about 3 yet. So, how do I know if a number is divisible by 3? There is a trick to it. Does anybody know what that is? Branson?
When you're going up, the ones place will go down and the tens place will go up.
Yeah, that's not quite for 3. Does anybody else know a different way? Jonathan?
It always we'll divide by 3, it's like 9, 6, and 3. No.
Not necessarily. Anybody else try to see if in that way they know?
Is it don't you divide it or something?
Well, you could divide it, that would tell you, yes. Okay, here's a quick way of doing it. If you add the digits in the number, and that sum is divisible by 3, then the whole number is divisible by 3. So let me give you an example. If I gave you the number 462, the question is that divisible by 3? Well, the quick way to tell is we do 4 plus 6 plus 2, which gives me 12. Oh, 12 is divisible by 3 because it gives me 4. That right there tells me that the whole number 462 is divisible by 3. So if you add all the digits in the number, and this applies if you have 17 digits in a number, you can add all the digits, and if it's divisible by 3, then you know the number is divisible by 3. Okay? How would I know if a number is divisible by 6? How do you think I would know? How could I?
2 or 3?
Yeah, if it's divisible, if you check 2 and 3, if it's divisible by 2 and 3, then it's divisible by 6. So you check to see if it's even. Then you add the digits. So you go back and you check these two. If it's true for both of these, then it's divisible by 6. Okay. There is no real way to check 7. 7's a prime number. It's just a hard number to check. There is a special way, but it's more work. It's more hassle than it's worth. How's that? Okay. You just have to divide it in there. Okay. But if you take these out, most of the time you'll end up, if it is divisible by 7, you can find out that by taking the other numbers out. Okay. So for 4, does anybody know what it is? Yes.
2 or 4, or maybe any even number that's under 10, or no.
So it's if the last 2 digits are divisible by 4, then the whole number is. Okay, so let's look at that. If last 2 digits are divisible by 4. Okay. So then you have to kind of know a lot of things. It's not the sum of them, but it's the actual number. Okay. So that's a 4.
Oh, okay.
There. So 344. Is that divisible by 4?
Yes.
Yes. Why?
Because the two numbers on the end and they're like 4s.
Well, I can take 44 and divide it by 4 and it gives me 11. So it is divisible by 4. You only take the last 2 digits and see if they're divisible by 4. Okay? You do kind of have to know up to 100 what's divisible by 4. Okay? But otherwise it's not too bad. Okay? So if I had something that is 928, would that be divisible by 4?
No.
What do you guys think?
I think so.
Well, let's check. Is 28 divisible by 4?
No.
Okay. 28 divisible by 4. Does anyone want to change that answer?
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Oh, 7. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 4 times 7. This is divisible by 4. So 28 is divisible by 4. Because that's 7. So then 928 is divisible by 4.
Is it because the last digit is the negative?
It's not necessarily, you have to take the last 2 digits and check them. Okay? Because like 32 is divisible by 4 and 2 is not really divisible by 4. Does that make sense? You have to look at the last 2 digits. Okay? There's one more that's kind of key for people. So for 9, we can do it pretty fast. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you want to check 8, if it's divisible by 2 and 4, then it's also divisible by 8. Okay. Most of the time. Okay. Anybody know how to check if it's 9? I heard something before. Yes.
I don't know how to. Well, wait. Well, I'm not sure. Does it have to do with like also if you line up a same for like multiplication too? If you line up from numbers from 1 to 9, and then you put the 9 next to the 1, 8 next to the 2, and so on.
That is a trick to do your multiplications up
Is that
through
also-
10. That works for up through 10. But what about numbers that are bigger than 100? Okay. Numbers that are bigger than 100. So what if I say that I have the number 342? Is that number divisible by 9?
Well, it has to be in front. 3.
No.
Yeah. No, it can't since there's 2 evens on it.
What do you guys get? What do you think?
I don't think so.
How many people think it is divisible by 9? This is just give me your opinion right now. It's not right or wrong. I'll just show you how to determine it. Okay. How many people? Oh, so most of you think it's not divisible by 9. Is that correct? Okay.
Same.
It is very similar to number 3. You add the digits. And if the sum is divisible by 9, then your answer, it is divisible by 9. So now let's try that again. How many people think 342 is divisible by 9? Okay, because look, if I add my digits, 3 plus 4 plus 2 equals 9. since 9 is divisible by 9, then that number is divisible by 9. We are adding the digits. This is divisible by 9, so therefore that number is divisible by 9. Okay? So it's very similar. So 3 and 9 are very similar. The 5 is kind of different, the odd's kind of different, and 4 just stands all by itself. And it's not really related to any of the others. Okay, so I guess you could say for 2, if the last digit is divisible by 2, then that's the same thing as saying it's even. Okay, so these are ways when you're going through and trying to reduce things, you can check the top and the bottom to see if they are divisible by these numbers. And since those are very common numbers, and especially if you use 2, 3, and 5, you will find out very quickly that you can keep reducing by that. Okay, so these are some tricks. They're called divisibility tricks. Okay, so they're for you to use. It's just ways to recognize when they are divisible by certain numbers. Okay. Okay. Do I have any sticky notes? I'm not sure that I do here.
I'm pretty sure there are some in the bottom of the cup I saw.
I don't see any.
I definitely saw some.
Okay. I don't have any, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, I'm wondering if I have some in my backpack.
Sure.
No, I don't have them. Okay, so that was the free lesson that I gave you today that is not really in 3-9 or 3-7. Okay, so now let's look at 3-7.
What we just did, that was 3 point, or
That was just an added bonus I gave you. Okay, we are talking about percents.
Yep.
Okay, last week in 3-6, we were converting numbers between percents and fractions and decimals. Now we are working with percents. Okay, so now we're working with percents. Okay, what we're doing here, and there are ways to write an equation with percents. And so I'm going to kind of give you that. I'm going to give it to you in words. As you get older, we'll put it into variables, but right now I'm going to put it into words. Okay, so what it is the part is equal to the percent times the whole. Okay. Now, if you're reading, so that's kind of how you take it, is you're taking the part, the little part or the big part, is equal to the percent times the whole. So what if I said, what is 75% of 200? I know some people can tell me that straight off. I don't want to know that right now, okay? How do I recognize what is the part, what is the percent, and what's the whole? Okay, yes.
Well, the percent is the one, 75%.
Yeah, the percent is always the one that has the percent sign on it, okay? So that's the easiest to find. I'll just guarantee you that. This is the easiest. So when I'm going to write this, I'm going to say 75%, okay? We're just writing it down there. Okay, yes.
And the whole is 200.
How do you know?
Because it's the whole number.
Well, what if I wrote over where it says what? What if I put 400 is 70% of 5% something? How do you know where the whole is? Yes.
It's because you're saying 75 of 200.
Yes. Actually, the of, there's two ways to look at this. The of signifies the whole number or the whole that we're looking at. So anything following of is the whole. Okay, if it follows of, it's the whole, and this is multiplied by 200. Okay, because that's the whole. The part is the thing that comes before is. Is actually equals an equal sign. Is the same as equal? So we're translating this directly off. What? That's what I'm looking for. So my question mark is 75% of can also mean to multiply. The word of can mean to multiply. So what I always look for when I'm doing or saying these percentages is say it in this form, okay? As you would naturally say it. And if you say 27 is what is 99% of what number? Well, the thing that follows of is what number. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the whole. Okay. How do I change it so I can actually do the math here? What kind of form do I have to have? Gavin, what kind of form do I have to have the percent in to do the math here?
Wait, say that again.
So right now I have 75% times 200. How do I have to have that before I can actually do the math?
In decimal.
I have to have it in decimal. So you need to do the math. We change to a decimal. So the question mark is going to equal 0.75 times 200. So that's how we would put that down. Okay? You can use your calculator in this section. I'm not expecting you, I don't want the answer right now, I'm just showing you what to do, okay? You can use your calculator in this section because your numbers are not gonna be easy all the time to get. Okay, so I'm fine with you using your calculator. Okay. So let's look at some others. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that 22 is 104% of what number? Okay. So I want you to write that in an equation now. Try to go back and remember, what does the is stand for? You have the part is a percent of the whole. Okay, so you could say it like this. Part is percent of. These are interchangeable. The whole. Okay. How would you write that as an equation? Yes.
You would do 104% times 22, unless you're changing the
Is that what we're actually trying to do there? Give me the equation. Part is the percent of the whole. So what's my part here? Well, let's see what we can find. Can I find where the equal sign goes? Where does the equal sign go? Yes?
Is.
Right under is. Okay? Right under the is going to be the equal sign. Okay? What's my percent? 104%. So we're going to write that down. Okay. What does of mean? It means times. What number?
22.
Really? No, it says 22 is 104% of what number? Of, there's my whole.
Yeah.
What do I know about my whole?
Nothing.
I don't know it.
It's X.
Okay, there's X. Okay, there's your whole. So that means 22 comes in front of the is, so that's how we'd write it. Okay, now, remember when we solved these, so we could put an X here, that would be nice. I want to get rid of this. So first I'm going to write it as 22 equals 1.04 times X. How do I get rid of that 1.04? Yes.
Multiply it by just the 0.04, and then subtract it from 22.
No. Yes.
You divide the number.
Yes, remember when we had things like this? 4 equals 2x. Now I know most of you can look at that and say it's 2, okay? But using that fact, I want to make this to be 1x. And so I would divide both sides by 2, so this would be 2 is equal to x, okay? This is very much similar to that, but I have the digit or the number 1.04. So I want to get this to be a 1. Well, 1.04 divided by 1.04 is 1x. That's what our goal is. We want to get a goal of 1x, okay? That means I have to take 22 and divide it by 1.04, okay? So what is 22 divided by 1.04? Give me, yes.
It would be 21.15 for you can round it.
Okay, 21.15. Now, does that seem weird that our answer is smaller than 22? Yes.
No, because it's more than 100%.
Yes, it's more than 100% because 22 is 104%. 21 is smaller because this number is more than 100%. So think about through those, what do percents mean as you're working these problems? Okay. So that's kind of how you're going through this. We're looking at what percent and how we're going to find it. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little about using this in a different sense. Okay. We're going to talk about when we say an increase of, or we're increasing the price, increasing the amount by a percent, and then the decrease of, or we're decreasing the amount. Okay. Still going to use this formula, basically. Okay, when we increase something, like if I go into a store and buy a dress, now you guys aren't going to buy dresses. Okay, we all go into the store and you're going to buy a pair of shoes. Okay, so everybody's buying a pair of shoes. When you go to pay, is the price increased when you go to pay, or is it decreased when you go to pay? Increased by what?
Tax.
By taxes. It's
Taxes.
increased by taxes. We have what's called a sales tax. They don't have a sales tax in Oregon. No sales tax, so their price is not increased by any tax. This is an increase in the amount you pay. So if I want to know exactly how much I pay, since it's an increase, and let's say I think most around here, I can't remember if it's 8.6 or 8.4 now, but let's just say it's 8.6%, 8.6%. Okay? So my sales tax is 8.6%. And I want to find out how much I actually owe, right? What you can do when you have an increase, and we'll talk about this for a minute, is we find, first of all, the whole, right? The whole is my cost. But my percent, and this is the part, well, you could actually put it the other way. Well, no, that's what we want. This is what I'm gonna pay. It's going up, okay? So in this, am I gonna just pay 8.6% of your cost?
Mm-mm.
What are you actually gonna pay?
One, or name one name.
Yes, 100% plus 8.6, right? You have to pay the full cost and an additional 8.6. So the full cost is the 100%. So whenever we do a increase, we add the 100% to it because we're increasing the item by 8.6, but we had to pay for the item too. Okay, so that makes it 108. We could write it as 1.086. Does that make sense? If I do it as 1.086%, move it over twice, that's going to give me 1.086. Okay, Brown, can you sit down on your chair? I don't want you to fall and get hurt. Thank you. So if the item was $72, then you would take 1.086 and times it by 72, and that is what you would pay. So let me do that really quick. What'd you get?
78 and 19% or 19 cents.
Okay,
But there's a 2, but we run down.
that's fine. Why do we round down?
Because it was a 2.
Oh, okay. So this is the amount you pay for a pair of $72 shoes, because you have to pay the governor his portion. What does the governor do with that money? Actually, it's not the governor, it's the state of Washington. What is that money used for? Anybody have any idea? Yes.
But it goes towards the town, like, probably,
The what?
a lot of different stuff. Like, town maintenance, kind of, like, I don't know. Well,
Okay.
some goes into the governor's pocket, some goes, not governor's, some goes into, say, like, well, a lot of our taxes, are we talking where our taxes go?
I'm just asking, what does sales tax pay for?
Oh, sales tax pays for, if you go to like a public park, say there's a bathroom there, the person that cleans it puts in more toilet paper, all of that, like, the money goes towards, like, keeping all the parks, public parks clean, like, just random stuff like that.
Okay, Brownson?
Or like roads and bridges.
Yes, it pays for a lot of things.
I said
What is-
almost.
Yes, you did. I agree with that. Does it pay for the policemen that are out
Yes,
there?
yes.
Yes, it actually does. Does it pay for school teachers in public schools?
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Anything that is in the budget of the Washington state government is helped to be paid for by the sales tax.
Wait,
Do you know what other taxes they have that they use?
I have a question.
Yes,
Do public school teachers then pay tax?
yes, they still pay tax.
So they basically,
Now, they're getting paid by tax money, but they still have to pay tax because they earned it.
so they're,
That's just how it
Partially
works.
paying themselves.
Because they're still, yeah.
that is, bro, a lot.
Okay, does anybody know what other taxes in the state of Washington we pay?
Income tax?
Actually, we do not have a state income tax.
Oh, yeah.
Brownson, can you please sit down, please? I don't want you to fall and get hurt. Not under my watch. Okay, so please keep all the feet of the chair on the ground. thank you. So, we do not in the state of Washington have income tax. We don't charge income tax. So the difference between Oregon and Washington is Oregon charges income tax, we charge sales tax. So that's the difference. That's why when you go to Oregon, you don't have to pay sales tax. But all the people that work in Oregon, even if you live in Washington, anybody that works in Oregon pays an Oregon income tax. Okay? Do you know what else helps to pay for schools and stuff like that? There's another type of tax, big one. Yes,
Food tax,
what one?
food tax.
There is not a food tax. In fact, we don't have to pay sales tax on our food in the state of Washington, so there is no food tax.
Isn't there a food tax in Oregon?
They don't have sales tax, so no, there isn't.
Did you
Okay, yes.
Tax on profits above 250,000.
That's called well, there's capital gains, which is tax. Okay, guys, seriously, can you just sit
I
still?
know, okay.
Really need to
Drop
sit
the
still,
pencil.
okay? But we don't have to make a big scene to get it, just lean down and get it, nobody else has to help. Okay, so,
Phantom tax.
what?
Phantom tax.
There's not a phantom tax.
How?
Okay. That is called capital gains tax, and that's only when you sell. So that's like if your house sells for more than $250,000 when you sell it, then you have to pay the tax over $250,000. Okay, so that is
Oh, yeah,
it's
right,
called a
yeah.
capital gains tax.
Yeah, I remember that.
Does anybody know else another kind of tax? Yes,
So did I.
a fee tax. What do you mean by a fee tax?
Does that mean like, is that like the amount that you pay like for food? It's like extra.
Okay, guys.
Oh, I know what it's not. I know what
Okay, are we all listening?
Yes, I
Because right now, we're having lots of little conversations.
Great one.
Do I need to be told that right now? Okay, so I want to go back to what Hayden said. You're Hayden, right? Okay. What Hayden said something about, you said fee, right? Fee taxes. We are charged fee taxes. Does anybody know how we are charged fee taxes?
in the mail.
In the what?
The mail,
In the mail?
like
Yeah.
bills.
Bill.
No, those are not fee taxes. Okay, yes,
Insurance?
it's not a tax that goes to the state. Okay, does anybody know else?
Oh, shucks.
If you go to Louisville Park, do you have to pay a fee to get in?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay. Any county park, any state park.
Not Daybreak Park, not Salmon Creek Park. Climate Pond.
Okay. Are they state parks? No.
Yep.
No, they are not. Okay, they're county parks.
County? Wait.
They're run by the county.
Wait, what about fairgrounds? Fairgrounds
It's not a park.
is that just a
Profit,
playground?
Okay, so let's, okay. Jonathan, can you take 5 minutes and listen and so you won't be confused?
Sure.
Okay, so in our county, some of our county parks are charged a fee. Not all county parks have a fee to get into them. Some do. That's a fee tax. That tax helps to, if you use it, that helps to pay for the maintenance and the people that work there. Okay? We also have fee taxes. All state parks in the state of Washington have a fee associated with them. If they're a state park, you're gonna have to pay a fee. Okay? If it's a federal park, you probably aren't gonna have to pay a fee unless it's a national park like Mount Rainier National Park. But fee taxes are things that are charged when you use them. It's a fee to get in, and that's how you pay the tax. Okay? They're more kind of like use tax, but use tax is totally different in the state of Washington than using something. Okay. One of the other ones, Gavin, what was your exciting one you were gonna say?
Insurance?
Insurance is not tax. I mean, it is tax, but it's not part of how the state government gets it,
What
okay?
about the border?
Okay,
You're going across the border.
that's not tax. In the state of Washington, we also have what are called property taxes. Okay, property taxes go to the state. They are actually a big funder of public education. They also supply the libraries with money so they can operate. So there's a lot of different things, but property taxes are a huge way that we pay the government for all the stuff the government does. Okay, yes,
Isn't it called toll tax, I think, when you go across like a bridge and you have to pay?
that's a toll.
Toll.
That's for.
That's a use tax. That's kind of like a fee, okay? Because it's only for people that use it. When you go across, you have to pay the fee to go across, so that's a fee tax, okay? So those are different taxes. But it's good to know all the taxes that we have to pay because you are paying, your parents currently are paying it, but when you get older, you're gonna have to pay all those.
Oh.
And so that's the things that you have to realize as you get older, you need to understand more about taxes, and they're always percentage based. They're most, except for fees, they're almost always percentage based.
That's an actual lesson. The only
And then
lesson I've
there-
done so far that's actually useful.
Yes,
Income tax.
we don't have income tax in the state of Washington. We have income tax for the federal government. So that income tax goes to helping the federal government run itself.
So like when we earn money, they take it straight out of it.
They take some of it out of it, they take a certain percent, depends on, ours is a step system. The smaller you make, the less tax you have to pay on that amount. As you make more, your tax rate, your tax percent goes up higher. That's how ours is set up in the United States. Okay, so but income tax is federal, that pays for the things that are national, not for the state things as much. Okay, there are also taxes within counties. So part of our sales tax is city or county tax, and part of it is for the actual state, and so it really depends where you're at. So most of Clark County is in with the higher tax because it's mostly within city limits that you will find stores. Stores are almost always within city limits, and so they have their own fee on them. What's nice about Clark County is pretty much all the cities are the same price for their tax, so it gives us kind of a flat tax all over Clark County. Okay, but if you buy something out in the county, it's actually cheaper. And one thing that people don't know is if somebody delivers something to your house or does work at your house and you live in the county, they should be charging you a cheaper rate on your sales tax for that than they do in the city. So if they deliver something to your house, they should be charging you, the county, if you live in the county and not the city, they should be charging you less sales tax than they would if you lived in the city. That is a difference, and that is not done most of the time. People that live in the county usually pay it because they don't know any difference, but really technically you don't have to.
Is this here around like a county or like a city? What do you say?
What is a county?
I don't know really. That's what
Oh, does anybody know what the difference between a city and the county is? How do you know if you live in the city or the county?
Well, cities are bigger. I guess more say New York.
So do you know if you live in the city or the county? You don't. Okay, do you know?
More land.
Not necessarily, but it could be. That's one reason. Yes. You know?
The difference between them?
Yeah.
No, I just
Isn't it like there's not as many houses packed together? Like,
Not necessarily. You can still have a lot of houses and be in the county, but yeah, that's kind of generally, yes.
Is like the county the whole area where all the
Yes.
cities are?
Genius.
What you have, well, but you still don't know. The county is a big area. Within counties, there's usually cities. Cities have what are called city limits. That means if you go out, you will see signs that say you're entering such and such town right now. Where those are, that's your city limits. So like we have Washougal. I don't know how the city limits go, but there are limits. You can go around and you can know when you're in the city based on a map of where the city limits are, okay? If you're in Battleground, I don't know how it goes now, but it's something like that. If you know where you live, there are city limits. Certain streets make the city limits. If you live within that area, you're in the city. If you live right outside that area, you're in the county. Okay? So there's Vancouver, which is a huge area. Okay. Oh, I forgot Camas. It's in here somehow. Okay. Sometimes I think these intersect, so I think they go right here, kind of like that. Those two intersect. Okay.
Is Washington-
Yes.
Is Washington a city?
Is Washington
Or
a city?
Washougal?
Washougal is a city.
What about like Hazeldale?
Hazeldale is not incorporated, so no, it's part of Vancouver actually.
Where-
Yeah.
Okay.
Where-
We also have Richfield, which actually comes down and meets Vancouver. And then we have La Center, which is
Yes.
over here.
we have Seattle.
Yeah, but that's not in Clark County.
Yeah, that's like.
Okay, so the main cities in Clark County are Washougal, Camas, Vancouver, Richfield, La Center, Battleground, Amboy, and Yakult. Amboy and Yakult are actually considered cities. So there are 8 cities in Clark County. If you're within those cities, you live inside a city. If you're not within those city limits, you live in the county. That's the difference. And if you live in the county, if people come to work on your house or whatever, they shouldn't charge you as much sales tax. And people are not aware of that a lot of times, and they just pay the extra sales tax. But that's not true. You don't have to pay that amount. Okay? Yes.
We live like right on the border of Washougal and Skamania County.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you're within the city limits. I don't know where the city limits of Washougal are. And besides, city limits change. Your parents will know though, because if you live, like if I live in the city of Battleground, I have to pay other taxes than I did when I lived in just Clark County. Okay, so it makes a difference. Yes.
Do counties ever extend over multiple states?
No, counties are within states. So this is a great history lesson and how things are broken up.
That's like an actual lesson that what you're supposed to learn actually understanding. So like it's like what you actually want to be taught. How to
Well,
pay taxes.
percent you'll be using when you do taxes. Let me tell you, you'll be using them. Okay? But really what we have is we have states. We have the United States. That's a bunch of states all joined together. Okay, so the United States is our biggest. That's our country. That's the country. Okay, then we have the states, which are like, there's 50 of them, right? We're broken into different states. They are all individual as far as their government is within the state. Okay, then the state breaks into counties. So they have counties. I can't remember how many the state of Washington has, but there's a lot of counties in Washington. okay? So they're broken into counties. Then usually within the counties, there are cities or towns, whatever you want to call them, okay? They have to be what's called incorporated to be considered a city or a town. They have to actually make a charter, a governing information, okay? What's interesting is we have taxes for this. They're usually the income tax. It's called the federal income tax, okay? So that's how we support the United States. Those federal income tax go to anything that's national. All the politicians in Washington, D.C., that's how they get paid. That's what they make rules on, okay? We have states. We have taxes for those, usually a sales tax or a income tax. Some states have both a sales tax and an income tax. And then we have property taxes that pretty much every state has. So states get either from these two or these three places they get money, okay? Counties, they have not as much funding, okay? So they will have little taxes for the county that you might vote on that get added into property taxes. So sometimes these taxes are added to property taxes. And that's things like for the county libraries or for the county roads, there's an extra tax on there. We have things for tax for your sewage, you're taxed for runoff, you're taxed, I mean, there's so many different things that you pay taxes for. You're taxed for fire districts. So there's all sorts of things. Cities and towns, usually they can get it from sales tax. Actually, these guys get it from sales tax too, okay? They get it from sales tax and they may have their own taxes. If you live in a city, they may have their own taxes. So you get taxed all over the place. We're taxed for all these different things. Those are all based on percentages. That's where you need to know percentages. That's why we talk about percentages, because these are all based. Branson, can you please turn around like I've asked you to before? And you're all the way, please. Thank you. Okay. So, all of these are based on percentages. That's why percentages is a good thing for you to learn. Because if you need to vote on a tax, you need to know how much that's going to cost you. Because it's going to be on a percentage basis. And so you need to know what you're signing or what you're voting for. Okay, and so percentages are very, very important. Okay, so that was a quick history lesson, but it ties into the fact that that's how they make their money, but it's all based on percentages, which is what we're talking about. Yes?
I was wondering when we were gonna pick up.
I think we're going to take it right now.
That was nice.
Okay.